Love this podcast? Support it and sponsor today. Simply head to auscastnetwork.com for details.
In a world where everyone says hello,
they dare to say,
g'day.
Yeah, g'day.
Yeah, g'day!
Yeah, g'day. Yes. Good day. Yeah. G'day. G'day. Yeah. G'day. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Good day.
Wow, wow.
Yeah.
Good day.
G'day. Hey. Yeah. G'day. Yeah. G'day, Tim.
Yeah, g'day, Leon.
Yeah. G'day, everyone.
Yeah, g'day, everyone.
Welcome to Yeah G'day, the show said by fans that isn't content from two relevant people worth listening to.
We are neither of those things.
We're not. We're not relevant people and we're not worth listening to.
I'm definitely not a person either, in a scientific sense of the word.
Because realistically, Tim, who are you?
No one.
Like, you just...
I'm no one.
We're just two guys in a basement.
Correct.
It's not worth paying for, if you ask me.
No, I wouldn't. I would say so.
If I were you, I would listen to the words of Alaska to RuPaul, please stop immediately.
This seems like a very scripted,
Not at all.
purposeful entry into the episode.
Tim.
Like something happened.
You know that I would never take content from an anonymous form and share it with the world in any form of marketing or a piss-takery.
Yeah.
I'm not that kind of guy.
No, you're not. No.
I'm just a guy in a basement.
Just yeah, you're nobody. That's who you are when it comes down to it. Yeah, no, good on that person.
Yeah, hey, look.
Thank you. Honestly, you did give us. I found it very funny.
In the words of Nana, I think she put it best when she said, fuck 'em.
Yeah.
She said that all the time. You know,
Beautiful.
that was her phrase.
Is that Latin?
I think so.
Yeah,
It stands for seize the day.
Yeah, fuck 'em. Pretty much,
Fuck
kind of
ADM.
in a way. Yeah. Yeah. No.
Anyway.
To put that in context, I guess.
Well, yeah. We got we put out a survey about our Patreon rewards, just our Patreon rewards.
Yeah, just looking for some feedback,
and
some thoughts.
someone took the time to answer our three Google form questions to tell us how much they hate us in general.
Yeah.
Not just our Patreon, but us as people and what we do. And it was an interesting day, but we're famous now. People hate us.
Honestly, yeah, I thought it was quite funny.
I was ticked off.
Yeah. you were a little upset about it at first. I honestly didn't care because it means we're doing something right, I think, and also, what's going on in this person's life that they need to do that?
I quickly came around to it, but for the first couple of minutes, first half hour or so, because I've always asked for hate mail.
Yeah.
Because I think it's funny.
It is confronting when it actually happens.
But then it actually happened, and it wasn't that it was hate mail. It was hate mail in a form where we were asking for feedback on something completely different.
Yeah.
But it was also like...
It's not productive feedback.
If someone
either.
wrote us hate mail and they were like, I hate your show and you guys are idiots, that's okay. But it's because they were like, we hate your show, stop what you're doing. And it's like, well, don't tell me to stop doing what I'm enjoying.
Yeah.
Anyway, my soapbox has been put away, and I'm going to keep
Moral of the
referencing
story
that
is-
fucking sheet throughout the
Yeah.
episode.
You've not got what you asked for, and we actually found it funny. So thank you for
anything,
your input.
We're going to go harder.
Exactly.
Tim, this week, I want to talk about something with the strength of two men, the height of a tall friend, and the iconic status of Steve Irwin.
What about twins that are both Steve Irwin but taller? Is that what we're talking about?
I was thinking
No.
more an animal.
Oh, okay. Perhaps Kangaroo? Am I pronouncing that right?
Jesus
Kangaroo?
Christ.
I don't know how you say it.
These poor people listening to our show have been like, well, I've been
Kangaroo?
saying it wrong the whole time. It's Kangaroo. The kangaroo.
The kangaroo. We're finally hitting
Kangaroo.
the big one.
We've
One
waited.
of the big ones. One of the big ones.
We've waited. I, before we even get into the episode, would hazard a guess that the kangaroo is the most iconic Australian animal.
I would say so.
Oh, no.
I think it would be jostling for the spot with the koala.
Koala bear.
It's not a bear. So
Yeah, I know.
No.
Yes, Dad.
No, I think it jostles with koala, but I think it possibly might beat it out. I think it's possibly
It's on
the big one.
It's like our soccer team, to again put it in timely context. The Socceroos.
Yeah. Our entire team is just kangaroos.
It's just, and that's why they're so good.
But props to the trainers to get a group of kangaroos to work cooperatively.
Oh yeah.
No, well done.
Tim Cahill's actually 2 kangaroos in one jersey.
He's quite tall as well, so
take that sport reference, dickheads.
Yeah.
But they're on that flag, but they're also usually on the kind of non-Australian Australian flags, the ones that are created. Normally the boxing kangaroo, which is a real pain in the ass. But Tim, what do you know about the kangaroo?
Yeah. All right. I'll tell you what I do know and what I have learnt via reading.
Okay, that's a good way to
have
absorb.
written down. Let's get into the hard facts of the kangaroo lifestyle. Because it is a lifestyle. They're not born that way. They choose to be kangaroos.
All kangaroos are born wallabies.
Yeah. So kangaroo is a marsupial, for those who don't know. That is, I think the basic explanation of a marsupial is Australia. No,
we're all marsupials.
They're creatures that usually have a pouch and they give birth to live young, but they kind of live in this pouch, which is sort of a womb for an extended period of time, and they're mammals. Yeah, it's...
And again, kangaroos are the iconic marsupial because they've got the little Joey in the pouch.
Absolutely. And they're from the scientific family Macropodidae. I'm not even trying to mispronounce that. I just can't say that word.
Macropodidae.
So kangaroo... Let's get it straight out there.
Okay.
Kangaroo, that's like the grouping, and they share that grouping with wallabies, wallaroos, and tree kangaroos. But these are not all the same thing.
Step back. What the fuck is a wallaroo?
A wallaroo is like halfway between a wallaby and a kangaroo.
Oh, I can't wait for that episode because I've just learned about a new animal.
So kangaroo generally denotes the 6 largest species, because this is the other thing people don't realize is there's actually quite a number of different species of wallaby and kangaroo.
Yes.
Depending on where you are and all that sort of stuff. So it usually refers to the 6 biggest are
Big boys.
kangaroo. But then I think there are like actual differences in terms of like how they exist and who they are as creatures and conscious beings.
Who they
between
hang
a
out
wallaby.
with, what music they listen to.
Yeah, exactly. So some of the kangaroo species, you've got the red kangaroo, Antilopine kangaroo, eastern grey, and western grey. Wikipedia said the top 6. That only gives me 4. Those are the only ones I know of as well.
The other
so
2 are the
those
lesser
ones we're going to
known
talk about.
secretive kangaroo societies.
Yeah.
Societies.
So kangaroo, where does it come from?
Where'd it go?
Where does the name come from? Do you know?
No.
Okay.
I don't.
So the common myth about the kangaroo, the kangaroo's English name, is that kangaroo was a word. So the word, which I'll get to the actual meaning, comes from here's a word. I'm sorry. I'm going to try and say this right.
Is this one you were trying to learn?
This is the one I was trying
to.
This is an Aboriginal Australian word. This is a particular Aboriginal culture, and I just can't say it right. I'm going to try. Gugu Yimith. That was definitely wrong. I apologize to anyone that's listening. Yeah. So the myth is that it meant I don't understand you, because when Captain James Cook was speaking to those guys and they said it, and then kangaroo evolved from that. Yes. What it actually means, it's from a word kanguru from that particular culture, which I won't say again because I don't want to slaughter it.
Yeah.
Which is referring to grey kangaroos. So that's literally just the name. Kangaroo was the name that they called it.
So it's not like
developed from there.
It's not like it's a scientific name that was built out of large rat boy.
No.
That was the name that was given to it by the Indigenous Australians.
That's correct. And it's first referred to in British or Western records as kangaroo on 12th of July 1770 in a diary entry by Sir Joseph Banks.
Oh, Banksy.
At the modern site Cooktown, which is where the HMS Endeavour, which is where James Cook landed, blah, blah, blah. That's a whole other story. James Cook is a whole wonderful, interesting, terrible aspect of Australian history, which we'll cover at some point.
Yeah, a whole kettle of assimilation.
So my understanding is, like I said, there's 4 kind of the main kangaroo types. The biggest one is the red kangaroo.
Yes.
These bad boys live in arid and semi-arid area, like in the center of Australia.
Yes.
They have large populations in the western New South Wales area. That's where most of them live, apparently. They are thought to be the most common, but they're not actually. So the most common are the eastern greys.
Yes.
So those are the guys that live right down the east coast, obviously.
That's where an eastern kangaroo would live.
From Queensland down to Victoria, some of southeastern Australia and Tasmania as well. Usually peak near 100 per square kilometre. That's the population density.
A lot of kangaroos.
Yeah. It's a lot of kangaroos.
kangaroos.
A lot of kangaroos. And these are the ones... Did you see a lot of kangaroos growing up?
So growing up at my school, we saw more wallabies because we had like kind of a rocky area, so rock wallabies, maybe a kangaroo or two. But more so when I was teaching and driving through the Blue Mountains and that. There was definitely a time where I had to stop my car very suddenly because a kangaroo decided to cross the road.
Yeah.
But we had a family of kangaroos that they lived at a park that was just up the road from the school, and they would hop between there and the school. So like I would go out at lunchtime and there were just kangaroos lounging on the oval hanging out.
Yeah.
How about you?
I saw them a lot, actually. My grandparents especially lived kind of always backing onto bushland, so especially around dawn and dusk, which is when you should be careful when you're driving around in bushland in Australia, because that's when they decide to move around. They would always kind of be out the back, so we'd see quite a few of them.
Yeah.
So it's quite normal for me to see them.
It's nice. Kangaroos are cool. You don't want to approach them, but they're fine.
No. We'll get into the weird relationship that humans have with the kangaroos later on. So that's the eastern kangaroo. Obviously, there's the western grey, which is more on the Western Australia, South Australia, mostly near the coast and the Darling River Basin area. And then there's the Antilopine kangaroo, which I actually don't really know anything about, which is the far northern equivalent of eastern and western grey kangaroos. So
I guess like far north Queensland kangaroo?
I guess so, yeah. And across maybe perhaps the north of Australia through that the Kakadu area, Northern Territory sort of area. Like that, yeah, absolutely. So there are 50 smaller macropods, which is in that family, so wallaroos and wallabies as well.
Yes.
That's what I mean. Like, there's a lot of different species in the wallaby kangaroo family.
I was not aware that it was a family, so I thought there was an overarching family that included kangaroos, wallabies, blah, blah, blah. But
there is. That's the Macropodidae.
Oh, right.
And then within that, you've got kangaroos, wallabies, wallaroos, and then like tree kangaroos.
I thought you were saying before that kangaroo was the overarching.
No. Kangaroo is like one arm of one branch of the tree.
Mate, you got to be clearer because our listeners may have thought the same that I thought.
Sorry, who am I?
You're talking about macropods.
I'm just some guy in a basement. I'm so sorry.
Is it macropods? Is that what they are? Macropods.
Macropod seems to be like the shortened version. Macropodidae.
Oh, yes, of course.
Anyway. So yeah, like I said, kangaroos and wallabies belong to the same taxonomic family.
Oh, well.
That's the overarching...
It is end of financial year, so it's taxonomic time.
Which is the Macropodidae. So that's good. As we know, they like to hop.
They don't like to walk.
No.
I don't think they can.
They do not have the ability to walk.
Their feet are too fucking big.
So the comfortable hopping speed for a red kangaroo is about 20 to 25 kilometers an hour, which is about 12 to 16 miles an hour. But they can get up to 70 kilometers an hour, which is 43 miles per hour to our American listeners.
So dumb. That is dumb how fast they... Why do they need... When... What?
When they're being hunted, these motherfuckers can move. You don't even know. It can sustain... I'll tell you this. It can sustain a speed of 40 kilometers an hour, which is about 25 miles per hour, for nearly 2 kilometers, which is 1.2 miles. It can keep that speed up for that time period. That's
lucky because there are a lot of school zones in Australia that are probably about 2 kilometres long. So, the kangaroos are just looking out for the kids.
If anyone has ever seen a grey kangaroo, which is the ones that are much easier to see, especially if you go to zoos and stuff, they generally don't have a lot of red kangaroos because they're big motherfuckers.
And scary.
Yeah. But you can see from a grey kangaroo, they are very, very muscly creatures. Like, they are built of muscle. Look at a picture of a red kangaroo.
Oh.
This thing will just tear you apart. It is pure muscle, and it is enormous.
When I start going to the gym in my future midlife crisis, I will have a picture of a red kangaroo as my inspiration.
Yeah.
Those guys are ripped.
They are absolutely ripped.
There was that picture
It's
going around
insane.
about 2 years ago, I think it was, where there was that red kangaroo that was like terrorizing a small town.
Yeah.
Literally. And there was a picture of it, and it literally had like a six-pack. It had pecs. It had bicep muscles. Like, it just looked like they'd gotten a beefed-up gym guy and put him in a kangaroo suit.
They're just made of muscle.
Nothing but muscle.
Absolutely crazy. So if you haven't seen a red kangaroo, look up a picture of a red kangaroo because they're crazy.
We'll post some.
What do they eat? Do you know?
What do they eat? Grass. I would say probably some small insects.
Not so much on the insects, from what I understand, but definitely grass.
A lot of grass. Probably just grass, really.
Yeah. So they are herbivorous.
Right, so no insects.
But unlike cattle and sheep, which have multiple stomachs,
yes.
they only have a single chambered stomach. So what they do is they chew it as cud. Like they throw up. They eat it.
Yeah.
They throw it up.
Yeah.
Chew it again as cud, and then swallow it
That's how I eat.
for the final digestion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you eat?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I have seen you do that. It's quite disgusting, actually.
It's pretty hard when I'm in a restaurant going,
Yeah. So, where was I going with this? So yeah, they eat. They all have sort of different diets.
Right.
So the eastern grey kangaroo predominantly is a grazer, so it eats a lot of grasses and some different trees, I guess.
Yes.
Smaller species of kangaroos and wallabies seem to be into fungi.
Fungi.
Yeah. Most of them are nocturnal. This isn't really anything to do with their diet, but they
they eat night grass.
tend to eat during that time. It has specialized teeth, so that it can do that. It's got incisors to chop the grass, and then it also, like a cow's, has the molars to grind it.
Tim's doing hand movements. They're very helpful.
Yeah. Can you hear this? That's what they do. So here's another fun fact about the way that they eat.
Yes.
So they don't release methane.
Okay.
So one of the major problems that we have in terms of domestication of cattle for eating is that they produce a lot of methane, which is bad for the environment. But they actually do not release any in their flatulence or burping or
Does that mean
poo-poo.
They don't burp and fart, or they do?
No, they do all of those things. But here's the thing. So the hydrogen byproduct of the fermentation of the grass in their stomachs, which is how it all works, converts to acetate rather than methane somehow.
So
I don't know if it's rather than methane. I don't know enough about chemicals.
That means I can use it to remove my nail polish.
Yeah, to give this proper explanation. But basically, rather than releasing it, whatever the byproduct is, acetate, they use it for further energy.
What?
So, yeah, they use this stuff which should be a byproduct, and they just keep using it.
Damn,
so they get
kangaroos.
like extra energy from their food, which is probably why they're built as fuck.
Bastards.
So scientists are actually trying to look at the possibility of taking the bacteria from kangaroo stomachs and bring it into cattle.
That's cool.
Because it could actually solve quite a large environmental issue
That's
in
really
that
cool.
regard. Yeah.
Good one, kangaroos.
Yeah. Bloody good on them. Sexual behavior.
Theirs or yours?
No, there's not much to talk about.
Pretty
with
similar.
Yeah. Yeah. So a group of kangaroos, you know what it's called?
A kangaroo.
Good. Nice. Reasonable.
Pretty good.
Incorrect.
Okay.
Mob.
A mob.
You would know that. Sure.
That's very Australian. A mob of kangaroos bloody up the road.
Yeah, a group of kangaroos is called a mob. Usually has about 10 living in it.
Anymore, it's a party.
So they do this to provide protection to weaker members, of course. And the size and stability of the mobs varies depending on where they are. They do a lot of nose touching and sniffing of one another, which is some kind of social thing, and apparently that's important to new individuals joining their group.
Right, got to touch that nose. Boop the snoot or you're out.
Yeah, boop the snoot, absolutely. And there's there's like a whole set of rules that they've examined in terms of like who's allowed to hold their nose closer, if they're smaller or bigger.
Hey, don't you
should
fucking put your nose that close to me.
There's like a whole kangaroo sniffing culture out there.
That sounds like a sex thing.
Yeah,
The kangaroo sniffing culture.
So obviously, they do the sex thing. It says they consist of consort pairs. I don't know that means they're necessarily monogamous.
No.
Or if it just means that during that time period,
They just do it with one person.
yeah,
Sorry, kangaroo.
during that like breeding season.
Yeah.
I think that's probably what it means. Excuse me. So as we said, like the little bubba is born into the pouch
Wait.
quite early on.
I'm trying to work out what position kangaroos get in to mate. Because a kangaroo has very big feet and tiny arms. I don't think they would lean over in a classic animal style for mating.
Oh, that's something I forgot to tell
Because
you.
they would fall over, wouldn't they?
Macropod
Yeah.
and Macropodidae, it's based... Macropod means big feet.
Oh, there you
I
go.
should have mentioned that earlier.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Like I don't understand because like if they leant over in, as I say, classic animal mating style of the bend over style, I feel like they would not be able to get up or fall over. So I'm very hard. I'm trying very hard to work out how the hell they do it.
Yeah. I've not done a large amount of watching or research of
don't worry, I will.
kangaroo fucking, but if that's something you'd like to look into, I'll
Tim,
let
it's
you do that.
called kangarooting.
Kangarooting,
Oh, thank
exactly.
you. Anyway, sorry. The
I
babies
do
are
know
born
that leading up to that, in terms of fighting for mates, there's quite a long ritual that's involved with the males winning over females
first they've
and
got to
competing
swipe
with each
right,
other.
and then
Yeah.
after
They
that,
actually they have like they fight each other.
Yeah.
but it's not always like actual fighting.
Yeah.
They've watched them kind of do these more ritualized fights that
Yeah.
are just kind of like going through the process.
right. So it's just kind of like a ritual rather than an actual.
It's kind of like watching
Fighting.
wrestling, like
Yeah.
it's not real.
What?
Yeah,
What's that?
sorry.
So sorry, you were talking about the babies being born into the pouch.
Yeah, so they're born into the pouch, and then I'm not sure what the gestation period is.
Couple of days.
Yeah, a long time. They stay in there for a long time, and the pouches are disgusting.
So gross.
It's really
Sticky,
gross in there.
warm.
Yeah, filthy. But then even when the baby's big enough to start coming out of the pouch, it will still go in and out for
It's
quite a long period of time as
Fucking
well.
adorable.
Yeah, they're very cute. When you see... Because often you won't see their head
Yeah.
coming out of the pouch. It's always their legs that
Yeah.
kind of stick out the top.
They're little bundles.
Yeah.
And it's also good because when I've seen them jump into pouches before, they usually jump in head first and then have to spin themselves around. It's like, ooh.
They are
Yeah,
very cute.
very adorable.
Very,
Little
very
joeys.
Yes. Yeah, so that's what a baby is called as well. We didn't cover that.
Joey.
But it's a joey.
And isn't a male kangaroo called a bull?
Yeah, or a boomer is another word, I think.
The old
they
boomer.
use. And a flyer is a female.
Because female kangaroos can fly. They have webbing.
Yeah, that's science.
Pretty amazing.
Absolutely.
They're the largest form of sugar glider.
Yeah.
Can you imagine one of those coming out of a tree at you?
Yeah. Oh, Jesus. Okay. Doesn't have many natural predators.
No, it's too big.
No, it's massive. So the thylacine, which is the Tasmanian tiger, when it
Yeah.
used to exist, is believed to have been one.
Yeah. Kangaroo got rid of that.
Other extinct predators that it used to have is the marsupial lion, which we will do an episode at one point on.
Yes.
The megalania, which is a giant goanna, which we've not
Oh,
talked
yeah.
about goannas, but we'll
No,
probably
it's a
have to do with that. I think, on
Reptiles in
that.
Australia is a big topic on its own.
And the wanambi, which is a gigantic prehistoric snake that used to live in Australia.
No thanks.
Fuck that. Yeah. So the arrival of humans into Australia, at least about 50,000 years ago, is the generally accepted timeline, although it could be more than that. Came with the introduction of the dingo about 5,000 years ago as well. And kangaroos, basically, their only kind of current predators are humans, dingoes, foxes, feral cats, domestic and feral dogs. That's about it. They're massive. They're huge.
Yeah, you don't
and
want to
there's
take
a lot
one.
of them.
Yeah. There was one of the megafauna was a giant kangaroo as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they've been around for a long time.
They have been around for a long time.
But what most people don't understand, like people outside of Australia and even inside Australia, it takes a while to learn, is that kangaroos, when it comes to farming, that they're pests. Like they're out there, like they're our coat of arms and that, but there's so many of them, and they ruin agriculture, and they can screw up fences, and so they're a pest, and they are hunted
In terms of human occupation.
Yeah, they're pests to us.
We would probably be the pests to them, but yes.
Correct. But so it's interesting what they're there for. But in terms of them being a pest, they're in terms of semi-sustainable meat sources, which I think is a bit of an oxymoron on its own.
Yeah.
Kangaroo is one of them because there's so many of them. The meat's good. It's really lean. It's really yummy as well.
They breed like gigantic rabbits.
Because they are.
That's what they are.
The meat's very lean. But as I would have mentioned a long time ago, because it's been a while since I've done it, like my brother-in-law and I, Ray and I, used to make, or still semi-do, make wallets out of kangaroo leather. Because kangaroo leather is really thin. It's like, I think it might be 0.5 centimeter thick. I don't even know if it's that thick. And it's super tough and durable. I think it's one of like the toughest leathers. But, cowhide is like very thick. So it makes it very thick wallets, whereas kangaroo wallets are... Anyway.
Thin wallets.
But the kangaroo leather. And a lot of times you can see in indigenous culture, they'll have like a kangaroo tail pelt or like a kangaroo pelt as a jacket or that.
Ceremonial dress as well.
I do remember, did you like have the Dreamtime story about how the kangaroo got its tail?
I can semi-remember. I'll let you tell it, but I'm pretty sure it had to do with the spear.
Yeah, the spear.
Right?
I don't remember anything aside from, as far as I can remember, a spear got thrown and it like landed in the back of this kangaroo-esque animal, and therefore it had this big tail.
Yeah, because maybe... kangaroos' tails seem to be, in terms of like the way that they hop, that's actually where most of the power comes from, because it's used as a stabilizer. Yeah. And then when they're boxing and kicking and fucking shit up, they actually lean back on the tail.
Yeah.
That bad boy is literally just a muscle sausage.
If you want to see a kangaroo kick another kangaroo or a person, it's fucked.
Kangaroo fights are insane.
And kangaroos fighting people and stuff. And
because
they can use... When we were at the wedding the other week, someone was talking about kangaroos. They're kind of like the cassowary in terms of they have like a bit of a claw on their foot that they can just use to cut shit open, including your body. Yeah,
absolutely. And there's a lot of stories about them disembowelling dogs and stuff like that do attempt to attack them. So that's kind of their situation in terms of predators. I did find how long it took them to... gestation period of 31 to 36 days. So that's within them, and then they're born into the pouch after that. Yep. So the babies themselves are blind, hairless, which is why they are kept in the pouch for such a long period of time.
Because they're so ungodly, everyone just wants to keep them away.
So it leaves the pouch after 235 days, approximately.
Jesus.
And the lifespan of a kangaroo averages about 6 years in the wild, but in captivity, they have been known to live in excess of 20 years.
Both those are a lot shorter than I assumed a kangaroo lived for. 6 years.
I don't think I've ever really thought about
exactly, but then when you said it, I was like, that seems short. I just assumed they were the
6 years
kind of...
does seem short, yeah.
To me, they seem like the kind of animal that would live for like 50 years, because they're big and sturdy.
But apparently most individuals don't even really reach maturity in the wild. They don't even get to 6 years. Which is crazy. Insane, yeah. Because they do have other problems in terms of their interaction with humans.
Yes.
First of all, even since in the indigenous cultures looked after this great wide land, they've been eaten. Australian Aboriginals use them for meat, their hide, bones and tendons. We continue to do all of the above as well.
Yes.
Cars are a big problem. They get hit by cars very frequently because they jump out in front of them.
And most people in rural-esque areas or anywhere that there's a large kangaroo population will have a bull bar on their car, not for bulls, for kangaroos, because if a kangaroo hits your car will be written off and the kangaroo will just hop away.
And every time I had to drive somewhere, especially if it was through bushland and it was around dusk, that always gave me the reminder, drive slowly because there's going to be roos around.
And they do. Like, as I said, I was
do. They
going
move
home
at that time
one
of the
day
day,
from
yeah.
school and it just jumped across the road and I was
Yeah.
like, shit, I nearly crashed into this huge beast.
I'm pretty sure my sister hit one. Nikki hit one.
Oh, God.
Like, not hard. It was just kind of on the side of the car. She was quite upset about it. Remember that, Nikki? That sucks, doesn't
Are
it?
you listening, Nikki? We know
I think
you
it
listen
was
every
Nikki.
week.
I'm pretty sure she hit a room.
Yeah, but they will ruin your car and they'll get off unscathed.
Yeah. So, but sometimes, yeah, if you approach a kangaroo in the wild,
Don't.
because if you piss it off, it will rip you apart.
Yeah.
And it does do that to people's dogs and stuff. There was that recent video of that dude defending his dog. I put
Yeah,
in.
where he punched a kangaroo.
He punched it in the face. I would not recommend you do that for a number of reasons. One, I'm surprised that kangaroo didn't rip him apart. And two, don't punch a kangaroo, you fucking dickhead.
Yeah, kangaroos
like
are awesome.
that's just
If your dog gets into a fight with a kangaroo, well, your dog is probably gone.
train
That's
your dog better is what I say. But they're not always bad. If they are raised in human contact from birth, they're actually usually pretty good pets, from what I understand.
Oh yeah.
There's a story in 2003. There was a kangaroo, an eastern grey named Lulu, which had been hand reared, saved a farmer's life by alerting its family. Very Skippy-esque, yeah. So, and Lulu was actually given the RSPCA Australia National Animal Valor Award in May of 2004.
That sounds like an interesting award. I wonder who else has won that.
Yeah. But yeah, in terms of interactions with human, they do get hit a lot. We do eat them, but they actually are faring pretty well.
Oh yeah, there's still heaps of
They
them.
take care of themselves pretty well. They're very adaptable animals,
Yeah.
and because they're used to the arid environment in Australia, they tend to fare much better than things like koalas and stuff like that, whose numbers dwindle because of our being here.
I love a good kangaroo. So, is that all the facts and everything?
Pretty much. I mean, just the fact that we have it on our coat of arms, and
Well, yes, and we're one of the only countries in the world that eats their coat of arms because we eat the emu and the kangaroo.
we do.
And as I said, there's also the boxing kangaroo thing, which is it's like that's like a weird thing that I'm not down with. I don't know how it started. I think it's kind of more other countries taking kangaroos in an odd way, but there's all these pictures of kangaroos with boxing gloves on. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah. But the two kangaroos to talk about, I think, when it comes to pop culture, there's Splodge from Blinky Bill.
Mm-hmm. We've talked about Blinky before on the show.
He had a why did we talk about Blinky Bill before? Oh, did he koalas?
We did koalas. Yeah.
He had like a kind of Cockney cap and like overalls were his attire.
Well, his big green overalls.
And so he was good. I think I had a Splodge toy that we had in the bath.
I did have a Splodge. I had 2 Splodge toys, I think.
Well,
actually.
that's too much Splodge.
Yeah.
And then the most infamous, if you will, kangaroo. Skippy the bush kangaroo.
Skippy.
The bush kangaroo.
What's that, Skip?
Jimmy's down a well. Skippy is the Australian equivalent of Lassie.
Pretty much, yeah.
So, yeah, Skippy would, old Skippy is wonderful to watch because, number one, he talks with just going, but he also, there are times where they show these, like, fake kangaroo paws that are doing things like opening doors and that. There's that great clip they always show of like Skippy flying a helicopter or whatever it is. No. So it's just like, what? But yeah, what's that, Skip? So yeah, Skippy, we'll find some clips because the old Skippy is. Yeah. I used to watch, I think, more of the newer Skippy, but Skippy is classic
stuff.
Great kangaroo.
Yeah, kangaroo is also a feature on our $1 coin here.
Yes.
There's the Australian made logo is a kangaroo.
Oh right, I was like, made like what,
like
people that
food
clean
packaging,
houses,
like shit that's made here. And you know the Rolf Harris, awkward.
Yep.
There's a song, Timey Kangaroo Down Sport. You know that song?
There's also Six White Boomers.
Six White Boomers, the classic Christmas carol.
I don't know if he wrote that, but he definitely made it famous before it all went badly for him. But yes, Timey Kangaroo Down Sport was one of his songs as well.
Yeah, so there you go. That's
kangaroos.
The kangaroo.
They're great. Love a kangaroo.
Kangaroos are good, yeah.
They're pretty cute. I think they're Elisa's favorite animal. I think they're pretty great.
If you come to Australia, I don't know if they do it in other zoos, but we've talked about this before. In a lot of Australian zoos, they kind of have this weird fenced off area that you can go into where usually it's wallabies. I actually went to one. I remember going to one where there was a red kangaroo in there.
Jesus.
But like it was very like maybe don't go near that one.
A red kangaroo in a castle area. They just wanted you to die.
But yeah, usually it's just like a lot of wallabies and some eastern greys in there, and they give you like feed, and you can feed them out of your hand, and maybe pat them like a tiny bit.
Oh yeah.
But there's always like the rules, like if it's laying down, don't go near it, and all that sort of stuff.
They're great.
So if you come to Australia, you can do that.
They lie down in a very seductive way. Like they do like the on the side lie with their arm. Like they do the paint me like one of your French girls. Which is very funny. But yeah, they'll just lie. As I said, when I was teaching, they would be on the oval, and we would stop the kids from going in that part of the oval because we're like, hey, don't die from kangaroo. Yeah, death by kangaroo.
They are very cute.
But yeah, great animal, iconic, and hopping around.
Iconic.
If I become a kangaroo expert, I want to be known as a kanguru.
Kangaroo.
Yeah, I'm working on puns over here today.
Yeah.
Tim.
No, keep it up.
I've got a dad vice.
Oh, good. Tell me it.
I was planning on it. Here it comes. Hot off the press. Dad vice. Kangaroos are done. Into the dad vice. Dear Tim and Leon, my name is Albert and I am a uni student in Sydney. I am currently on uni holidays and I work at a cafe near uni. It gets pretty busy on weekday mornings and people can be real dicks. I want to tell people to fuck off, but I also want to keep my job. Do you have any tips on how to achieve the perfect balance? Keep up the great work. I can't wait for you to start producing content by two relevant people worth listening to. Enjoy the world tour. Thanks, Albert.
Good on you, Albert.
Thanks, Albert.
Seems like you know a lot about our Patreon survey process. All right.
So he's working at a cafe. It's uni holidays. It's busy. Weekday mornings, we know we've got fucking cyclists. And people coming for meetings.
People are real dicks.
And people are dicks. And
I've worked in...
We've both worked in cafes.
In cafes. They're not nice people usually.
And you want to tell people to fuck off, but you can't say that because you'll lose your job.
I remember...
What do you do?
When I was working at the theatre there at the Star City Casino, when the Star still owned it, it's a different story for another time that will never come. I was told by one of the older guys that worked there that he had once heard that the epitome of customer service is being able to tell a customer to go fuck themselves without the customer realizing, because you'd said it in such a happy manner. Yeah. So if you say it fast enough and with a smile, you can actually say to a customer, "Fuck you very much," and they'll think you said "thank you very much." So I don't know, maybe play around with that.
That's a risky one.
That is a risky one.
You want to get a bit more creative. Now, as we've talked about before, my reaction is usually I'll get super nice just to fuck with them. So when they're at me going, "You fucking idiot, you asshole," and I'm going, "Thank you. Oh, okay, well, great. Oh, I'm so happy to help you. I can help you out as much as I can." Yeah.
One way that I just deal with dickheads in general, don't argue with them. Allow them to argue with themselves by asking a lot of questions, because in that way you can usually show them that they're being a fuckwit. That's how I deal with it.
I don't think I did deal with it, Albert. I don't think I'm very good at this because I remember a time working at the cake shop and we sold the cake by weight, as people will know. And someone ordered tiramisu and it was like $4.50 for 100 grams is how much it cost. And there was a certain board that you could get, a small size, and for most cakes, for some of the lighter $4 cakes, that would only be like a kilo. So that's a $40 cake, which is fine. But tiramisu is heavy as shit. Yeah. You get one of those boards, it costs like $100, something like that. Yeah. And I remember a guy being very mad about it. And I think I was pretty much like, I don't know what you want because you ordered a very large, heavy cake and I gave it to you for the price of that cake. Yeah. Like, what can I do for you?
Yeah. To be fair, would I suggest selling cake by the weight as a business model?
Not a good system.
No, I would not. No.
But delicious.
It's confusing to customers. It's not a good position to put your staff in. I would not suggest it.
Yeah. So if I was you, Albert, the solution to this is just never sell cake by the weight.
Correct.
No. Yeah. Just I think be super nice to fuck with them. And if you feel like it, try and be patronizing. Ask them lots of questions. You know, if they're like, how the hell could a coffee cost $4.50? You could be like, why? Yeah, why does the coffee cost $4.50? Or do the classic of, I don't run this place. I don't know what you want me to tell you. Because that was my one. I was like, I don't know what you want.
I just work here. Okay.
I am getting paid very little. I'm with you.
Yeah. Good. But, bloody good question. Yeah.
Yeah. Great question. Just take off your apron and walk out. Just like, I agree with this guy. Yeah, I don't know. People are assholes, and there's no real good way to deal with it.
No.
But you tell us. Let's flip the dad advice this week.
Yeah.
If you can tell me. I was talking about writing school reports. You've got to think about ways to nicely put it when someone's being difficult to work with.
Difficult is a nice way to put it, isn't it?
Even that's too negative, I think. You've really got to put a positive spin on it.
Why?
Great.
I don't understand that.
All those
For
kids
me,
of mine at school that are listening to this podcast, notice I haven't said any of the words that I use, so they have no idea who it is.
to be fair, if in my mind, and I know a lot of parents don't like this, you should just be straight. Like, if a kid's a shithead, you should tell them, like, your kid is a shithead. Like,
parents think they want that.
But they don't.
No,
they don't.
I'd want that. I think my
would
parents
want that.
wanted that, and they.
If my kid's actually being a little turd in class and he needs to pull his head in, tell me.
Which your kid will be.
100%. 100%. I was very good in class, so I think and my dad was not. So I think it's like a generational thing.
So when customers are dick to you, think that you're writing a school report and be like, "Thank you, sir. It's great to have such a lively and energetic member of our cafe.
I value your feedback immensely, and I will be taking it upon myself to better my service to the people who come after you.
You have worked well this morning. I've enjoyed having you in the cafe.
Please do come again.
Please
I will look forward to speaking to you again so that I can show you how I have improved in the service industry.
Why does this coffee cost $4.50? You know what? Hold on one second. I'm just getting the manager on the phone right now. Hello, Craig? Yeah. What? Hey, look. Why $4.50? Can you talk to this? Can you talk to this man about it?
Oh, tell them to go somewhere else if they don't like it. Oh, that sounds a bit rude, Craig.
No, you are the boss. Yeah.
Look, Craig says to go fuck yourself.
Look, I'm just, don't shoot the messenger. But Craig said, go and fuck yourself. And if you stare at me like that again, I will have to hurt you. I don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah. I don't speak English, so I'm not sure what that means.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you, Albert. Tim. That's the end of the show this week, I think.
Correct.
Thanks for contributing, for listening, and talking about kangaroos with a kangaroo. Thanks to Teylor Smirl, Smelly Belly What a Girly for our wonderful cover art.
And Curtis Fernance of the Fern Tree Music. Keep the fern trees away from the kangaroos. They'll eat them.
They will.
Bit of advice.
Yep, advice.
Yep.
What does Curtis do for us, Tim?
Oh, he does music, the introduction and outroduction. I
want to thank all my friends.
Yeah.
And thanks to Auscast for hosting us. Share the show around with your friends. If you do think it's content by two people worth listening to, maybe head over to Patreon and flick some dollars our way. We're about to adjust some things to make it a bit more enticing.
We are indeed. Because the other people who responded gave us actual valuable feedback that we're willing to use.
Yeah, they were very good. So at Yeah G'day Podcast, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Make sure you're following it. Make sure you're in our Facebook group, Yeah G'day Fans. Jump in there and have a chat with us. Make sure you answer the questions if you want to join that group, because otherwise we won't let you in because we think that you're spam. It's two easy questions. Our favourite one recently was when someone answered the question of...
No to both.
Yeah, the question is, have you ever listened to Yeah G'day? Do you listen to Yeah G'day every week? And someone said no and no. And I was like, what do you want to do in here? What are you coming here for?
Yeah.
That's all good. And Tim and I are about to record the bonus episode for this month, which you can get on the Patreon. As always. Yeah, g'day, Tim.
Yeah, g'day, Leon.
Yeah, g'day, everyone.
Yeah, g'day, everyone. Catch you on the flippity flop.
Love this podcast? Support it and sponsor today. Simply head to auscastnetwork.com for details.